Welcome to the HMO Property Show. By investors, for investors. Catch us weekly as we discuss all things cash flow positive property investing. Whether you're a seasoned investor, a new landlord, or just curious about property investing, this is the podcast for you. Sponsored by the Co-Living Collective, your trusted partner in creating vibrant and sustainable shared living experiences. Visit us at colivingcollective.com.au to learn more.
Welcome back to the HMO Property Show. I'm your host, Neil Gibb, and today I join you for the first time as a father of two. I've just come back from 2 weeks on paternity leave because my beautiful wife gave birth to our beautiful little daughter, Flossie. She was 3.8 kilos, 50 centimetres long, born 41 weeks and 3 days. And yeah, just such a beautiful experience. And taking 2 weeks off with the family was absolutely incredible as well. Got to bond incredibly well with my little boy, Freddie. And just spent some real good time with him. Changed more nappies than I ever thought was possible. Did breakfast, did dinner, did lunch, did everything. It was absolutely incredible. But now I'm back because I was itching and I was chomping at the bit to get back to the office, even though I was having such a good time. Because our business is just going through so many interesting stages right now. It's evolving past what I ever thought it would evolve. And this ties in nicely with this podcast because the title that I wanted to do this is your self-worth is your net worth. And everybody says that your network is your net worth. But if you don't have any self-worth, then it's going to be really hard for you to build a network, right? Because what I've found over the last few years, and look, over the last few years is as our businesses grow and our brands have grown and stuff like that, we've started attracting more and more people, more interesting people, to the point that a couple of weeks ago I got to meet a billionaire, first billionaire and only billionaire I've ever met, and spending an hour with him in our office and then spent a day with him driving around site and showing him some of the things that we did and talking about some of the things that he did, blew my mind and really challenged me on so many different levels. Challenged me in ways that I thought I was doing okay and I thought I was dreaming big, but this guy just squashed on my dreams and started telling me some of the things that he's done. Now he's going to stay anonymous because he's a very private person. Very hard to find anything about him online, which is incredible in this day and age. But he said something really interesting to me that I'd never really given myself credit for before. And I know I've said about my journey. I've spoken about my journey from an electrician, coming to the country in 2010, getting into real estate in 2013, 2014, getting into HMOs in 2015, and then building our portfolio and our businesses to where they are right now. And we are going through a phase now where we're trying to raise money from investment funds. And we're talking like hundreds of millions of dollars that we're trying to raise right now to have more impact and bring more housing to the market. And what this billionaire said to me is, the product that you've got is amazing. And it's going to be really, really easy to find people to back you guys, because most of the time it's not about the product. It's about the people. And he goes, and your journeys, yours and your business partner Troy's journeys are incredible. And then he looked at me and he said, yours is incredibly incredible, mate, because 10 years ago you were an electrician. And it really hit home that somebody, getting emotional thinking about this, really hit home thinking that somebody of that stature and somebody that talented and knowledgeable and experienced noticed that in me. Wow. Didn't realise I was going to start getting emotional in this podcast, but now going back 10 years ago, I would never thought that I'd meet somebody like that and have the conversations that we're having, not just with that guy, but some of the other investors and some of the other companies and the groups that we're speaking to right now, right? Because over time, my self-worth has increased. And as my self-worth has increased, so has my net worth. And that's why the title is Your Network is Your Net Worth, because that's a very cliche way of saying things, and I truly believe it is, by the way, guys. Your network is 100% your net worth. But why should people believe in you and back you if you do not believe in yourself? You cannot fill from an empty cup. You've got to increase the way that you perceive yourself and how you add value in the world, your confidence and the confidence in your product and services, so that other people can see it in you too. And yeah, sometimes I just don't know if I give myself the credit that I actually deserved. And I'm going to big myself a little bit more here as well, right? So we've hired somebody new who started whilst I was on paternity leave. And we've got this really incredible circle of friends that each of us know. And how we didn't know each other before I hired this guy is unknown to me, because we've got so many really, really good friends that are connecting us. But and he came to my office yesterday. He said, I was out speaking to this guy, and this guy the other day, I told him I was working here, and they said, incredible, well done, you'll do really well at that company. You're really lucky to be working with somebody like Neil. And I said, oh, they said that about me because I actually hold this person in very high regard as well. And then he said, oh, do you want to hear some of the other things I said about you? And I was thinking, do I? Because no matter how well you perceive yourself in the world, there's always that little bit of self-doubt, right? There's always that little thing on the shoulder that will question if you're good enough, if you're doing the right thing, if you want to know what other people think about you. Now, I've done podcasts in the past, and I've said I'm comfortable with what people perceive of me. If they don't like me, that's fine. I might be too bald, too English, too tall. My accent might be too stupid. They might not like my shirt. That is totally fine. I gravitate to the people that I do like or do like me, and I can add value to, and I can help. So this particular guy that I hold in high regard said, Neil is, in my eyes, one of the best small property developers in Perth, and he's changing the landscape. And I was like, wow, they said that about me, because this guy's doing pretty well himself too. So you might be thinking, it's easy for you to say that, Neil, you've done all this and blah, blah, blah. But let's go back, 2010, guys. I arrived in this country with absolutely nothing but a bag of clothes, my passport and a toothbrush, and a bag full of ambition and hope and dreams. Like some of the people that are listening to this podcast right now. Some of you might be a lot more advanced, and I know a lot of people that listen to this podcast are. But for the people that might still be struggling to get moving and get started, there's going to be some tips at the end of this podcast in how you can increase your self-worth and understand and appreciate the value in yourself as well. Some of the things that I've done over the years. Because your knowledge has value and your experience is worth money to people, as long as it's classed as fair exchange. And that fair exchange will increase over time as your self-worth and value to the world increases as well. Like our fees now compared to where they were when we first started are probably 5x'd. And it's still seen as fair exchange because we get hundreds of clients signing up to work with us every single year. But when Joe and I first started out in real estate, I had no network, I had no friends, well, few friends, but the friends that I had were all electricians. They were all people in the oil and gas industry or the submarine corporation when I worked there for a short period of time as well. Really good friends, solid friends that are still good friends now. I give them a shout and grab a beer with them anytime I want. But I didn't have the network of people around me that I needed to take me and pull me and elevate me to the level that I wanted to be on. So in the early days, we just had to do one project. And, when we did our principal place of residence conversion to HMO in Hammond Park in 2014, we had no idea it was going to end up being what it is now. You have no idea where the journey is going to take you. My business partner says it to me all the time, enjoy the journey, not the destination, because every time you get to that destination, you're going to be unfulfilled. And without digressing too far, I was at a David Goggins event on Monday at the HBF Arena in Perth, and he was with Mark Boris. Now, Mark Boris used to own a company called Wizard Home Loans, and he partnered with Kerry Packer, who used to own the Crown Resorts, and they sold that company for $500 million in, I think it was 1999 or something like that. So big bucks at the time. They sold it to GE, which is General Electric. And the guy who was interviewing Mark said, Mark, what was it like when you made over $100 million? And he said, I can remember this. I got all excited. I was flying over there. And he goes, I flew over on my own. I had to fly to America, New York. And he goes, we signed the deal. The money got transferred into my bank. And he goes, I went back to my hotel suite. And he goes, kind of walked in there and there was no one there. And he goes, I just cracked a beer. And I just sat there on a chair looking out the window. And I thought to myself, I'm going to get myself a pizza. So he rang the concierge. And he said to the concierge, I want you to find me the best pizza in New York and bring it to my room. So he goes, the guy turns up the pizza. And I sat there and I looked out the window and I thought to myself, well, that was a bit of an anticlimax. Because when you hit them goals, the vision that you have in your mind of hitting them goals is fireworks going off and doves flying out and all that type of stuff. And you just expect like all these things to be happening. But from you to get to where you are now to where you want to be, that journey is going to help you improve who you are as a person, how you deal with certain problems, how you deal with stress. It's going to bring new people into your life. Your network is your net worth, right? This is also going to improve your self-worth, which is going to give you more confidence when you're going into some of the meetings and networking groups that you're going into. Like, I've listened to some of the podcasts I've done with other people, and I thought to myself, where the fuck did I learn to talk about all of this stuff? And it's just, it says you need 10,000 hours to become a master at something, right? I've been doing this for 10 years, a decade now, so well more than 10,000 hours. But if go back 10 years, I would love, like where I am now was beyond my wildest dreams. Because over time, my self-worth has increased. And as my self-worth increases, my confidence increases. And that means my goals get bigger, my outcomes get bigger. Don't get me wrong, my problems get bigger as well, right? So... But in them early days, it all started with that first property. And I remember when I did that first property, I did a video walkthrough of that property and I dropped it into a Facebook group. And about 15, 20 people commented at it and told me it was great and blah, 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 gave me a pat on the back. But what I didn't realise at the time was I was building a personal brand. I didn't even know what a personal brand was. And I'm seeing it now. There's a couple of little hustlers in some of the Facebook groups that I'm in now, and I'm seeing them hustling away. And I'm seeing them doing project after project after project. And I'm like, these guys are going somewhere. And they might not even know where they're going themselves right now, because you just got to focus on one deal at a time. You can have your big, hairy, audacious goal. Like ours is 10,000 rooms in 10 years. But to get 10,000 rooms in 10 years, we know that we need to work with X amount of clients every single year, and also work with funds, which is why we're talking about raising hundreds of millions of dollars right now so that we can do bigger projects. And whilst that is a staggering amount of money, $100 million is 100 HMOs. So it's still not enough to scratch the surface, right? So we really need $1 billion. So if anyone's got a bill in the back pocket and wants to drop it into a load of HMOs, let me know. But the conversation that we're having right now are positive because of the confidence that we've built over the years. And as these people that I'm talking about now are dropping their videos into certain Facebook groups, they're starting to build up trust and rapport with everybody that's watching them now, because people are attracted to success. People are attracted to people that are going places and doing things, and it excites me, right? The podcast that I did with the guy over in Adelaide not too long ago, that excited me. His journey excited me because it brought me back to my journey in the early days, the hustle, the grind, and everything that you need to do. And now we're doing more projects than ever. And I'm excited about where the business is going. But I still get excited when I see people starting out and I see people getting runs on the board, because I can see where they're going because I've been there. And it fucking excites me, guys. So first project, second project, third project, we just kept doing video walkthroughs and building our personal brand. Every time we put a new video in there, I got a little bit more confidence. You're never going to be a master. Every master was once a disaster. Every winner was once a beginner, right? I'm not saying I'm a master. I'm not saying I'm a winner. But I was a disaster and a beginner right at the very start. We all are, right? No matter where you are right now. I look at my son, Freddie. He's a total blank canvas. He's got so much to learn. And I'm just honoured to be part of that journey with him as well. But we're all a blank canvas to start with. You do not know what you do not know. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But if you don't ask the right questions to the certain people to get certain answers, you won't know what other questions to ask. And sometimes the best experiences come from the mistakes and come from the knockbacks and the rejections and stuff like that. And, you know, when we were, again, in the early stages of our career, we got knocked back on so many deals, right? So many deals, especially the head lease deals, right? And we just refined our pitch, our approach, absolutely everything. To right now, we've got, well, last count, I think we had over 170 projects, 170 properties under construction, and we've just picked up a couple of larger commercial deals, which are going to be interesting, right? Again, this is the next evolution of the business, the next evolution of our journey, the next evolution of absolutely everything to do with this sort of style of housing. But to get to this point, again, it's took a lot, right? I've spent probably $350,000 on personal development courses. And again, not all at the same time. It started with one course, paid $4,000. 3995 Dimpness course was back in the day. I also did Mark Rolton's options course. I've done plenty of options. And each one of the courses I've done, I've made sure I've made money from it before I went into the next course and the next course. And then I stopped just doing the courses because I didn't want to sit in a room for a weekend when I could just go direct to the source and work with them one-on-one. So, for instance, I've worked with the likes of Brett Jones, Ryan Tuckwood, Kim Barrett, like doing one-on-one sort of stuff for these guys and paying big money for it, but the results show, right? And you don't need to start at that point, but that is the point you will get to if you start. Start with one course, learn and implement and do. And if you're going to fail fast and fail forward. But the main thing is to get out there and actually do it, right? Because you're not going to learn anything by buying all these courses and not doing anything with them, just sticking them on the shelf. That's called shelf help, not self-help. So now, because of our increased self-worth, and I say we, I'm going to put my wife in there as well, and Troy's already been through a lot of the things we're going through now. He's had a big business back in the day, probably 90 people working for him at one point. So yeah, he's been there, done that, got the t-shirt, blood, sweat, tears and battle scars to back it up, and that's why I wanted to partner with him, right? But again, I'll tell you the story about when I first met Troy, right? A guy that I know rang me up and he said, I'm going to connect you with this guy, and he's super connected and he's super experienced, and if you do any work with him, you're going to owe me more than a carton of beer from this. And I remember meeting Troy, and he came in and he sat down, and he's still got this Breitling watch now, and I've always been obsessed with my watches. And he came in and he kind of sat down at this table. We were at Crank Coffee in Leaderville, and he came in and he sat down, and like this big chunky watch like clunked on the table. And he goes, oh, mate, David's been telling me some great things about you. He says, tell me about these HMOs that you're doing. And back this time, we'd done like 5 or 6 renovations. But I was buzzing, right? And he could see the excitement in me, and he could see that I was going places. So I sat there and I'm like, oh, yeah, well, what we did, we got our principal place of residence, we put some smoke alarms in, we put some furniture packs in, rented it out, made 15 grand a year, cash flow positive. And he's like, fuck, that's incredible. He goes, what else have you done? I said, well, but then we did this other project where we did this and we did that, blah, 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 and that makes us about 17 grand a year, cash flow positive. And then he was like, this is incredible. He goes, man, fucking. I said, what about yourself, mate? Tell me about you. And then he told me the name of the company that he used to have, and then I was like, shit. There's me talking about my 4 or 5 renovations, and this guy was one of the biggest builders in the state at one point, building hundreds of houses a year. But again, if I didn't do what I did, I would never have got that sit down with him in the first place. And then because of our social media presence, we kept posting content constantly. Sometimes we wouldn't get many comments on them, sometimes we would. But every single time we did something, we always tried to do it better the next time, and better the next time, and the next time. And one of the values at our company is we constantly evolve and innovate. I want everybody in this business to know that what's got us here is not going to get us to the next level. And if they've got an idea on how they can improve our product or our service or our experience for our clients, I want to hear about it. And I'll sit with them and I'll go through it and we'll give it a try. I will try anything if it makes sense. So as we've evolved, Troy kept reaching out to me and asking if we needed help with anything. And that's how the partnership was formed. Because we had a product and a service and we had good self-worth. We believed in ourselves. We were out there. We were doing projects. We were making mistakes. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't all easy. But none of this would have happened unless we believed in ourselves, right? And again, you might be saying, mate, it's all right for you. You've got the confidence now. You're doing X, Y, and Z. But guys, I started from absolutely zero. In fact, when I finished working in oil and gas, I was $120,000 in debt. I had a $70,000 tax bill and I had 2 credit cards maxed out. And the project that I finished on wasn't Gorgon, it was Papua New Guinea. The Papua New Guinea project came back, I had cash in the bank, but it was a brand new house that we bought. Smashed a load of money into the furniture of the house. Bought myself a BMW convertible so that my hair can flow in the wind. I was going on 2 holidays a year. That money went in a heartbeat. If you're in Perth, if you're in Australia, you know how expensive it is to live in this place, right? That money went, and I actually started from a negative position, and people thinking because I was in the oil and gas position, I was cashed up and ready to go, but no. We started off doing joint ventures, hustle and grinding. We were doing owner joint ventures. We were doing options. We were doing joint ventures with people that they were providing the capital to, and we were doing renovations and stuff like that. We hustled and grinded our way out of the position that we were in. And we talk about the carrot and the stick, right? What's more motivating for you, the carrot or the stick? The carrot is the prize, the cash flow, the money that you want to make. The stick is the debt that you're in. And I always thought that I was motivated by the carrot. I've always been motivated by money. I've always been motivated by nice things. And the reason for that is I grew up in an area in the northeast of England called Middlesbrough. And we didn't have a great deal growing up. Mum and Dad did the best they could. My dad obviously became pretty sick and had to leave work before he unfortunately passed away when I was 27. But we didn't have a great deal, right? And the thing, and I heard Conor McGregor say this exact same thing not too long ago, so I'm going to compare myself to Conor McGregor right now. Conor McGregor said he lived in a very rough part of Dublin, right? And when you got a new pair of trainers, a new pair of runners, whatever you want to call them, everyone used to buzz over your trainers because you had new trainers. And every time I got a new pair, I used to pretend I had a blister so that I could wear them to school. And I used to forge a note from my dad. Neil's got a blister on his foot, needs to wear his trainers. Signed, John Gibb. Sorry, Dad. Because when you had new trainers on, it was saying like you obviously got a bit of money because you've treated yourself to some new trainers. So I've always been motivated by like nice things. I've got fucking too many pairs of shoes for a bloke. I'm probably embarrassed to say that, right? Wardrobe full of clothes because I like things that make me feel like I've got something. And one of my mentors used to say to me, like, having money and having these things as goals isn't going to make you happy. But I don't know, right? Everybody's got different motivations. And I am more motivated waking up in the morning and putting on a nice watch and putting on some nice clothes and walking in my Mercedes instead of waking up in the morning and not doing them things, right? That's not my goal. These things are metrics. Business is a game and money is how you keep score. The same as your property portfolio. Treat your property portfolio like a business. The cash flow and the money that you make is how you keep in score of how well you're going. Now, I also like to keep score by treating myself to nice little things across the way, because to me, money in the bank doesn't really do anything. I've lost too many good people around me to various different illnesses and stuff like that, and there's no point being the richest man in the graveyard, right? So we allocate a percentage of what we earn to frivolous, opulent things. It's only a small percentage, but when you're earning good money, you know, you can treat yourself to some really nice things from these. But again, you don't need to start there, right, guys? First thing first, get yourself in the position so you can do it, and then say, right, for this money that I've made, I'm going to put that into investments, I'm going to put that into this, I'm going to put that into this, I'm going to spend that on stuff that I want to spend it on to make myself feel good. Because it also helps increase your self-worth, right? the interesting thing about this, right, is I remember, might have just been before I partnered with Troy. I was working my ass off, right? I was working 18 hours a day, and I fucking loved what I did. Absolutely, I was loving it. To go from electrician to buying houses for people, to renovating them, to managing businesses, to money coming in left, right, and centre, and buying and renovating properties and making money from that as well, and doing small scale developments. I was absolutely loving it, but I was fucking flat out, like flat stick, 24/7, but loved it, right? And I remember saying to myself, I can't wait for someone to say to me, it's all right for you, mate. You've done X, Y, and Z. The first person that said it to me was my stepdad. I was blown away. And I'm like, don't hold that against him, but I always just remember, because I specifically said I can't wait for someone to say that for me. And my stepdad said to me, it's all right for you, son, you've already got a big team around you, to hire people and blah, blah, blah. But I didn't. Everything that you see and hear right now is a learned skill. I learned property from somebody else. I've learned marketing from other people. I've learned how to build a personal brand. Doing this podcast, I actually sat a podcast course to learn how to do a podcast. I mean, how hard is it? All you do is press record and talk shit and people listen. So, but everything's a learned skill. Every time you learn something new, it increases your self-worth. So I've got 3 tips for you right now to finish this podcast on how to increase your self-worth. Step 1, stop worrying about what everybody else thinks about you. This is the biggest step ever. People are always thinking about, what is this person going to say? What is this person going to think? What is this person going to perceive and judge me? They're so concerned worrying about themselves, the same as you are, thinking about what they're going to think about you. They're thinking about what are you thinking about them. So stop thinking about it, right? Set your goals, focus on them, and run your own race. Now, you can use other people's journeys, my journey, other people. There's many more successful people out there than me, guys. Like, put me on a pedestal if you wish. There's people out there that I put on pedestals, right? Absolutely. I'm inspired. It gives me fuel for the fire, right? Seeing other people do good. Even if they're not doing as good as me, I get inspired by seeing people start out, right? Like I say, these people that I'm seeing on social media right now that are hustling, grinding, doing deal after deal after deal, that inspires me. That inspires me as much as someone like Paul Blackburn, who's just built out the Grove and Subiaco 1, inspires me. You can get inspiration from all different places, but don't compare your journey to their journey. Use their journey as inspiration. If they can do it, you can do it. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel, right? Success leaves clues. I was thinking to myself, what does that actually mean? It means that all you need to do is copy other successful people. We didn't make up the HMO, right? We didn't make up property. We didn't make up any of this stuff. Other people were already doing it all over the world. Success leaves clues. We were just like, what do they do? Ian Ugarte put a course together and taught people how to do it. But Ian didn't make this up. He looked at all these other things that were going on around the world and went, right, I'm going to condense all that into a nice digestible course. I'm going to sell it to people. Success leaves clues, right? So don't focus on, stop worrying about what everybody else is potentially thinking about you. And just focus on yourself. Run your own race. People are going to judge you if you're rich or poor, right? You've got a crap car, people are going to judge you because they're saying you're not working hard enough. If you've got a good car, people are going to judge you saying that you're flashy. You can't win. You literally cannot win. So set your goals and take small incremental steps every single day towards them goals and enjoy your life, guys. Enjoy your life. There's a quote by Theodore Roosevelt. I've actually got it on my wall here to remind me every day that the only people that it matters, the only feedback that I take on board, because we're always going to have trolls and critics and haters, the only feedback that matters is from the people that have been there and done that and got the blood, sweat and tears themselves, right? Let me get it off the wall, 2 seconds. No, I'm not going to pull it off my wall. I'm going to pull it up on my phone. 2 seconds. Theodore Roosevelt quote: the man in the arena. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, the man whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasm, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end of the triumph of high achievements, who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place should never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. I've just got goosebumps reading that. What that means is, guys, if you're going to a barbecue and you're telling somebody that you're thinking about getting into property, and they go, nah, you don't want to do that, mate. I read the West Australian the other day, the property's going to crash. But they've got no property themselves, right? They've got the principal place of residence, and it's gone up in value. They think that they're fucking Donald Trump nowadays because the property's gone up in value. Only take feedback and criticism from the people that have been there, done that. Get yourself a coach or a mentor. Stand on the shoulders of giants. Success leaves clues. I'll say it again, right? Stop worrying about what everybody else thinks of you. Only take feedback from the people that you hold in high regard, have been there, done that, got the blood, sweat and tears. Right, step 2, surround yourself with positivity. This was big for me. I used to get up every morning, I used to put the news on, and I used to sit there with a cup of coffee and a bacon sandwich, and I used to watch the news and just didn't know anything else, right, until someone actually said to me, the news is just full of negativity. Every day they feed you negativity. Create your own news. That's what somebody said. I can't remember what it was. I was like, fuck, what does that actually mean? What that means is, it means, guys, that you can create your own news. You can be the star of your own news if you want to be, right? So what you need to do, cut the news, cut the negativity, cut out the people from your life, or limit the time that you spend with the people that are negative. Time and energy drainers. You can either surround yourself with fountains or drains. Fountains are the ones that bring energy and life into everything that you do. Drains, self-explanatory, right? Books, podcasts, documentaries. I've done some podcasts on documentaries and movies to watch on Netflix and so on, so stuff like that. Friends, work colleagues. Go to networking events, surround yourself with people in that area. Your network is your net worth, right? If you surround yourself with these people as well, it's also going to increase your self-worth, because you'll be like, well, this guy's done this and this guy's done this. You know, maybe I can do that too. Maybe I can spend some more time with them. Maybe I can take them for lunch. So go to networking events, take people out for beers or lunch and stuff like that. Surround yourself with positivity. I still do this every single day, right? If I'm in the gym, I'm listening to a podcast or an audio book, and it can, it doesn't have to be a business related or stuff like that. Like the actual audio book I'm listening to at the minute, right, is Tiny Humans, Big Emotions, because my son Freddie is just going through this super high emotional state right now, and I'm like, I can't do nothing about this, but I need to know about it because there's something going on inside this young man, this little boy, that I need to understand as a parent, as a leader, as an authoritative figure in his life. He's going to come to me for guidance and feedback, and I need to know how to handle this, right? So it can be anything, guys, but just please switch the news off. Please stop and stay away from the negativity. I think it's Grant Cardone at his office at Cardone Enterprises. He's got a sign that says no negativity on the wall. It's powerful. It's powerful. Surround yourself with it, guys. It's like gyms, walks, driving, all that type of stuff. You can make your car a mobile library if you've got a long commute to work every single day. Surround yourself with positivity. And last but not least, make a list of 10 things that you're good at and review these things daily to remind yourself that you're good at these things, because we're always quick to put ourselves down. We're always quick to bash ourselves and tell ourselves we're not good at these things. very similar to affirmations. And if you want some affirmations, they're all over the internet, right? All over the internet. And this, again, is surround yourself with positivity. If you're waking up every day and telling yourself you are this, you are this, you are this, you are this, you'll believe it. You'll start to believe it. But if you're waking up every day and going, oh, I'm no good at this, I'm tired, I'm so overweight, I've got no money, I've got no friends. Henry Ford says, whether you tell yourself you're right or you're wrong, or you can or you can't, you're right. Whether you sorry, I butchered that quote there, didn't I? Whether you tell yourself you can or you can't, you're right. Because whatever you tell yourself up here, guys, in the mind, that's what drives everything. And when you switch that switch from negative to positive, boom, self-worth increases straight away. Write down 10 things that you're good at. I did an event not too long ago. Yeah, it was quite a long time ago, actually. What am I lying for? It was about 2.5, 3 years ago, right? It was an event down in Margaret River with my good friend Alex Waters. And my wife actually did it as well a couple of months after. And he brought out a form. It was in a big framed, I've actually still got it in my house, 50 things I love about myself. I was done after 3. I was like, I've got another 47 boxes to go here. Over time, you sit down and you write down all of these things that you actually appreciate about yourself and that you love about yourself. And this comes back to the very start, right? You cannot give from an empty cup. If you don't believe in yourself, why should other people believe in you? You've got to tell yourself that you are capable. You are worthy. You can do this. I've got myself, every day I wake up, I go to the gym, I come back, and if Freddie's awake, I'll do this when I get in the office. But if he's not awake, I'll do this in the house. I've got what's called a high performance planner from Brendan Bouchard. And it breaks it down into months. It's like a 3-month planner. So it breaks it down into 3 months. And inside of each one of them months, there's 4 weeks. And inside of it, for each of them weeks, there's 7 days worth of days to plan. And there's certain questions that he asks inside that planner which actually help you stop and think about what you want to achieve that day, that week, that month, and why you want to do it, right? The first thing it says at the top of that page is today's message to myself. Today's message to myself. What a way to start that is, right? Mine this morning was, you are an unstoppable force of nature. Now, you might laugh at that, right? I don't care. Like I say, I'm waking up every day and I'm telling myself I'm unstoppable. I'm going for this. I'm taking life by the scruff of the neck and I'm getting out there and I'm getting shit done on a daily basis. And then he goes through different questions again. He goes through morning mindset, helps you plan out what your top 3 goals are for the day, and then people that you need to connect with. And then at the end of the day, it reviews your day. How do you feel about your day? How do you feel about yourself right now? If you were a high-performance coach, what would you say to yourself? That's a powerful question as well. Sometimes I say to myself, you were terrible today, mate. You were terrible. You didn't stick to the plan. You didn't focus on key result areas and income-generating tasks. You let the day control you instead of you controlling your day. But that's being honest with yourself, because you know the next day you can wake up and you're going, yesterday wasn't my best day. Today, this is what I'm going to do so I can get out there and get shit done. So the 3 things that you need to do to increase your self-worth. Stop worrying about what everyone else says. They don't care. They're all too busy worrying about themselves, right? Surround yourself with positivity. Books, podcasts, audio books, networking, friends, colleagues, etc. Turn off the news. And number 3, make a list of 10 things that you were good at. Review these things daily to remind yourself that you're good at them, because we are too quick to put ourselves down when things go wrong. If something's gone wrong, give yourself the credit for it actually going wrong. I tried this the other day, it didn't go right, and this is what I'm going to do next time. That is how I review all my projects, whether they went right or wrong. What could we have done better? Every floor plan, what could we do differently? What could we do better? What could we do? How could we change the furniture pack? Like the furniture pack that my team put in now is totally different to the one we put in HMO number 1, because we constantly evolve and innovate. So I hope that helps, guys. 40 minutes. I wasn't expecting to talk that long about this, but I hope it helped, because I honestly believe that your self-worth is your net worth and your network is your net worth. and that every master was once a disaster, and every winner was once a beginner.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you tune in the same time next week so you can stay up to date with all cash flow positive property updates.